Hey, what's going on, guys? Mango Sun here, bringing you another Destiny 2 video. And today what this video talks about is what is a build? What goes into a build? What does that all mean? Loadout, setup, character gear, all that. Everything in the totality of your character is the build. Synergy, cohesiveness, everything works together to make your character do a specific thing. But when they do that specific thing, they do it the best that they can. So, Bad Juju feeds super energy. It's a weaker pulse rifle, but it does do good at what it does. You get kills, it reloads the gun. You get kills, it gives you super energy. Now, combine that with charge of light and high energy fire, you got a decent pulse rifle in your hands. You got a lightweight, rapid hit, whatever the heck it's called, whatever the 340 Bad Juju is, it hits like a feathered pillow. I can't stress that enough, that the Bad Juju just isn't a real big powerhouse, but when it does have its string of curses going charged with light, it does decent enough to clear out ads, and that is the synergy I'm going for with the Salvage Salvo, clearing out more ads, making more orbs of light. No, this is not an invader setup. The entire video here, this isn't all just Gambit gameplay. At the end of the video, you're going to see PvP gameplay. You're going to see another synergistic, another loadout, another setup, whatever you want to call it, right? A build. You're going to see my PvP build, and I'm going to Monday Night Quarterback on that to tell you how that goes too. But let's get back into the video discussing what comprises of the build. Now, when it comes to building your character, you need to figure out what stats you want to allocate everything into. When you go into that activity, whether it's PvP, Vanguard Strikes, Crucible, Gambit, Trials, Raids, you want mods, you want gear, you want the stats in order to compete in that activity and do it well. You don't want to be the guy dying all the time, holding your team back, feeling bad about doing bad in the activity and not feeling like you can do the activity. The only thing you need to know is that you can do the activity, and I'm here to give you the tools to do those activities better or at a more competitive level, just so you know how your character is going to work for you. When you get inside of the activity, you know that either you have protective light on, or you have on high energy fire, or you're using well mods to get font of might, but damage increase and increased defenses, depending on the activity that you're going into, it's going to help out a lot. Now, this video isn't going to go into what mods you should be using for your character, but let's just review what I have going on. As you can see, it's more focused on a little bit of a high intellect, right? It's 98, it's not 100. It's focused on getting my super. It's focused on making orbs of light for me and my teammates. If I can get my super, I can use my super. I create orbs of light. I'm damaging enemies. I'm using my masterwork weapons, creating more orbs of light. Everyone's getting orbs of light. Therefore, everyone is getting their super for those encountering areas where ads pour out of area after area after area. Now, as we get closer to the end of the Gambit match, you're going to see how I struggle with the boss, how I struggle against the yellow bars, how my overall setup that's meant for ad clear is basically on a heavy struggle bus trying to take out basic enemies. I can't decide on which weapons I want to use. The meatball is not a good example of a good boss to really encompass what this build can do, but throughout the video you've seen that I can put down a majority of the ads, but against this witch I just could not secure the kill. It was not happening. So good thing I had good teammates that were probably set up for a good amount of DPS. I come in at clutch with the super at the end and I die. But we win the Gambit match overall, and that's what matters. Whether if it's an inch or a mile, winning is winning. But what I want to make important here is that the build wasn't perfect. No build is completely perfect. If it's perfect to you, it's perfect, but no build is perfect to everybody. So I did what I did, in order to help out my teammates. It was a supportive build and it can use some tweaks, but that's how we make our characters better, is we continue to stack on what we already have and thus creating a build. Now, a lot of you guys are out there thinking, I don't even play Gambit, all that stuff at the beginning of the Gambit gameplay and stuff like that, I don't even care about that, but you're missing the point. The point of the video is, what is a build? What goes into making your character better for you, the player? Now, for the PvP loadout, right, Crucible, right? The Crucible loadout that I'm working with right now, comprised of the Chaperone for close to really close encounters. The Grid Skipper is for mid to long ranges, but the Grid Skipper cannot outshoot a scout rifle, and you will see that here shortly. Bannerfall is a okay map for the setup I got going on here, but it is not the most ideal setup for this map. Better off would have been a sniper rifle with an auto rifle or submachine gun, and then that would have helped me cover more lanes. It would have helped me cover B more effectively, and I could have picked my engagements better when dueling against the scout rifle. That would have been a better setup. Now, everybody is going to play a certain way, and going into here with the PvP, right, on top of having your build set up or your loadout or whatever you want to call it, you need map awareness, but you also need position awareness as well, because you never know where someone's going to be, even if they do show up on your map. You need to be aware of when your teammates get murdered in certain areas. There could be 1 to 2 people there. There could be a really good player there. Just playing the objective is good, but it's not all that it takes when it comes to Crucible, right? Control is one thing, Trials is another thing, Iron Banner is another thing, right? There are certain instances where you'll encounter a player and you guys will both end up freaking out, and maybe nobody will win that gunfight or that engagement. That's just how it goes sometimes. You can't win them all, but you can control on when you want to engage and who you engage with, depending on what you have equipped. Now, looking a little bit more back into the loadout that I have here, it is leaning a little bit more into the resilience and the mobility. I want to go for 100 mobility, but that's currently not what I have. As I look over all my stat allocations, I see that one of my stats is going into resilience, and having a 79 resilience versus an 80 resilience isn't the most ideal choice. So maybe I can drop down the resilience in order to get more mobility, but I do decide on making that decision later. When you go into Crucible or when you go into Iron Banner, unlike Trials, you're not locked into your loadout. So when you do go into Trials of Osiris, when you do go into a locked activity, Grandmaster Nightfall, you need to focus on what you're going to take in there beforehand. And this is where this video comes into play, is figuring out how to set your character up for the activity that you're going to play. Casual Crucible modes is where you want to tweak your Crucible loadouts for the harder content. If you ever bumped into someone and you're like, oh man, that dude was super sweaty, it's probably because he's testing his loadouts against multiple people in order to get a better feel for using that loadout in a more try-hard activity. Or he just been having a little bit of fun. But this is where we make our mistakes. You're not really penalized for going in there and doing bad. You just feel bad for doing bad. But you only get better by trying. Now, I see this guy that's about to come up. I saw that he went to B. I took him out, but I didn't know that the guy with the golden gun was sitting right there around the corner. It was ready to pop me. Now, with noticing that the loadout, that the stat allocation, the mods where they're at, the mods that I'm using, noticing that those aren't working out too well for me and where I want to place things, I wanted to put taking charge on my helmet. I like putting taking charge on my helmet. I start moving some things around. Now, I ended up losing 10 mobility right there, but I know that that 10 stat increase for my resilience, I don't really want that. I'm gonna change that to mobility. Like I said before, the casual game mode of control or mayhem, rumble, all those little game modes that uses valor, those are the areas where you would want to tweak your builds for the more sweatier activities, such as survival, such as trials, such as Iron Banner, things of that nature. Casual strikes is where you're going to end up tweaking your builds for Grandmaster Nightfalls, running Grandmaster Nightfalls, going in there, getting your equipment locked, not being able to change it out, going out of the activity, changing it a little bit more. Make sure you're going in with the right modifiers, you're going in with the right defensive tools, protective light, radiant light, not radiant light, but reactive light, the reactive pulse for the arc. No one really uses it besides a few niche people, but it does help when you're surrounded by thralls in a Grandmaster Nightfall. You get hit, you pop a arc wave around you and destroy things. So even a hunter and a titan can act a little bit like a warlock. But I hope you're understanding the point of going into an activity, playing a specific role, and playing it the way that you want to play it, but being equipped for the job in order to get the job done. If you're going into PvP to capitalize on kills, you need to be set up to capitalize on kills. If you're going into PvP in order to throw more grenades, throw more melees, use your super more, you need to be set up for that, right? Map awareness and being set up for the activity. Now, I hope this video helped you guys out. I hope that you guys ended up understanding the point of the video, what goes into a build, whether you're a hunter, whether you're a titan, whether you're a warlock. As long as you're set up for the activity properly, you can do anything.
Seriously, watch this.